Hi, my name is Alex and this is Enchanterium. Today I'm at my friend's house and we're going to draw prompts for Leo with a very special guest. Leon! Say hi.
Hi.
A lot of you suggested to use family pet for choosing the prompts. We don't have family pet, so I borrowed one.
Hi, voiceover Barb here to complete the Enchanterium. And welcome back to our random challenge Zodiac challenge, where we draw 2 random prompts for each Zodiac doll that we make. Excuse my absence in the clips, but I hope the cute kitty makes up for that. Leon was bribed with snacks to help us choose from a series of piles of prompts. I don't think this needs further elaboration, so enjoy the cute cat without me talking. Voiceover Barb, out.
The prompts were chosen, so let's make a muscular Kintsugi Leo. We considered doing a male character, but the prompt is muscular and not masculine, so we decided not to cheat. I'm going to combine Spectra's head, Claw's chest and arms, and Marisol's beautiful long legs. The first step is to cut, or chop, or slice the bodies. I'm using a Dremel tool to extract the part I need. Now, let's move on to double decapitation. I'm using my Enchanterium mug, merged at enchanterium.com, to take the heads off with a little help of boiling hot water. Jeez, this sounds like a horror story. Anyway, we don't need your claw, we only want your chest. I sanded the surface of both of the parts because I planned some clay modifications and everything stays right where you left it. But also everything stays better on a sanded plastic. Let's connect this Frankenstein's monster in one piece. I'm using super strong hot glue to place the wire inside the lower part and then connecting it to the upper part. Next step is to fill the hole with aluminum foil and more hot glue. Now we can start the real fun. And for this I'm going to use epoxy sculpt. I'm connecting the parts on the chest and I also added more volume in the hip area. I'm going for a fit and muscular silhouette, but I'm not an expert on anatomy, so this is not going to be the most accurate body. Also, the proportions of the dolls I'm using are pretty stylized, so that's the style I'm going for. Let's say she's one of the superhero girls from the older comics, so jacked but feminine, but without hypersexualization. I'm adding clay to her belly to make a nice abs and to the legs to balance the super wide shoulders. I added a bit more definition to the ribcage muscles, more volume to the butt, and some blobs of clay to the feet. It's because I'm going to add a pair of cute cat paws. Sometimes it's easier to work in layers. The first one builds the volume, and you add all the details on the second layer. This is one of the reasons why I chose Marisol for the bottom part of the project. She already has huge feet. Well, she's a daughter of Bigfoot, so she kind of has to. And I'm transforming the feet to lion paws. On this layer, I'm building the right shape and leaving room for the claws. And when it dried, I added the claws to these little holes, so it looks uniform. I wanted to make her hands super massive, but it didn't look good with the whole silhouette, so I only added a bit of volume to the biceps and shoulders and swapped the chunky forearms for a different pair. These ones were not holding well in the joints anyway. I primed the whole body once and remembered about the Kintsugi trait. Kintsugi is a Japanese art of repairing broken ceramics with gold. It creates very unique designs and makes the restored piece more valuable. I think in character design it can represent the strength, but also beauty, that comes from going through hard times and healing the wounds. I can't say I agree with what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, because that's the first step to a trauma, but in case of Kintsugi I would interpret the gold parts as the healed scars from the past. Deep, huh? It took me a while to carve the cracks, because under the primer there are different materials, some of them were easy and some more stubborn. I sanded them all and added another coat of primer to see how this Frankenstein monster looked in one uniform color. There are some parts where the transition between plastic and clay are not perfect, but I think she looks even more jacked because of it. You know, the muscle definition and all. For the main color, I chose dark, unsaturated brown because the stone for this zodiac is onyx. And I want her to have a lot of black in the design, but I was not feeling like pure black will suit this character. And to incorporate some lion colors, I'm painting hands and feet light yellow. She needs a few coats of matte acrylic varnish and MSC to protect the paint from chipping, and I think I'm ready to move on to the head. I chose Spectra because she has very feminine features like big eyes and pretty lips, while also having a strong jaw and cheekbones that will match with the Claude's upper body. Also, I think she's going to look good with a darker skin color. After removing the hair and the factory paint, I start with modifications. First, I'm going to sculpt her a pair of cute lion ears. She might be buffed AF, but she's still a cute cat girl. I want them to be removable, so I'm sculpting them on pins. I marked where they are going to be and I painted the scalp black. I'm using black mohair hair and I'm routing 2 first rows in the front. This fiber is not the easiest to work with, so I'm only doing the part that has a visible connection to the head. The rest of the hair is going to be glued after I finish the face, which is actually better in this case because it's going to lay more flat on the surface compared to rooted hair. Let's see if I can do the Kintsugi cracks without breaking the doll. I'm using a scalpel to cut tiny parts of vinyl and I try to cut at an angle and not pierce through the vinyl. The camera doesn't want to show you the scars on the white doll, but when it's sprayed with the primer, the cut parts are showing beautifully. I'm painting her head to match with the body and I give it a coat of matte acrylic varnish and a few sprays of MSC to make a matte purple-like texture. As always, I'm starting with a sketch with watercolor pencils. I was struggling a bit with the design of her eyes. I tried to draw it on my iPad a few times, but I didn't like the result, so I just started drawing on the doll. I want to get inspired by the shape of lion eyes, so I'm drawing pointy, dark corners and some additional lines around that will guide me with applying colors. I thought about hairy brows to emulate lion eyebrow whiskers, but later I changed them for more human brows. I considered white lips, but she would look too similar to our Aries girl that also has gray skin, black hair and orange details. I guess that's how I just see fire signs. So instead I chose a black lip. Lions usually have a majestic but bored expression, and I want that kind of face but with a fierce and sexy look at the same time. You know, I'm the furry goddess, bow down mortals kind of vibe. While adding blushing to the face, I decided that the rest of the body could be a bit more warm in tone, so I added brown pastels to the whole body, and I absolutely love the colors that she has after this little change. It's not that easy to build the opacity with watercolor pencils on dolls with darker complexions, so I'm switching to acrylic paints. I'm painting details like the waterline and also starting adding white paint under and above the eyes. Lions have this lighter spot under the eyes and I thought it's going to look cute as a part of makeup. But I couldn't leave it pure white, so let's paint it the same kind of yellow that she has on her arms and legs. In every concept, I portrayed her with heterochromia, like if the Kintsugi crack changed the color of one eye for golden. And for the left eye, I chose blue. She's getting a color palette close to Cleo the Nile from Monster High, right? Black, brown, golden and blue. And I'm absolutely here for it. I'm drawing the lashes with a black pencil and I decided to skip the upper lashes for a half-closed eye look. I really like how her lashes look like sunbeams. After all, Leo's assigned planet is the sun. I have to admit I quite like the smooth irises, but I feel like she would look so different from the other zodiacs that I'm adding the pupils. I mean, she already is different because she's like super buffed and she was made partially of a male body, but that's something different. I tried to sketch catch lights, but nothing was looking good, so I'm returning to our signature dot in the middle of the pupil. I don't know when I stopped doing this, maybe around Tsula's video? I'm adding a few white details on the eyes and a waterline, and I also added a black tip of the nose to resemble more of a cat nose style. And this is how the face turned out. I think she looks a little bit draggy, like the makeup is very dramatic, but also I don't feel that is an issue here. I think she looks very cute. Sorry for the sudden change of quality, but I didn't finish recording my voiceover before my trip to Italy, so I'm doing it here in 35 degrees Celsius, melting. But let's see what's going on with the doll. Oh, it's time to finally fill the Kintsugi cracks. My first plan was to use gold metal leaves, but it looked like cheap glitter glue, so I did a test with metallic powder and resin. I'm painting all the gaps with golden paint mixed with this gold metallic powder to make a good opaque base for the resin. It already looks super shiny, but also every imperfection of the carved lines is showing, and I would prefer something more smooth. So I'm filling the lines with transparent UV resin, which will give me a smoother surface inside the cracks. Sometimes I have to add more to fill the spaces to have a uniform level of resin. I'm curing it when it's translucent because I was worried that the pigment is going to be too opaque for the mix to cure properly. And after 60 seconds in a UV lamp, I'm rubbing the powder on the resin parts. And it makes it even more shiny, which I absolutely love. I love how it looks like liquid gold. I spent the whole night working on this kintsugi, and I'm not kidding, I started at 9 p.m. and I finished at 6 a.m. But I absolutely love this effect. It's like the sunlight is coming from the inside of the doll.
Welcome to my new mat. You can get it on Enchanterium. It tells you to have an enchanted day. It's a big gaming desk pad, and I love it. And I'm gonna see how it is for sewing. So sorry for the shaky cam, but I just wanted to share that we have cool stuff at merch.enchanterium.com. Now that I have my setup in order, let's do some old school tape and saran wrap pattern making. I made this tube from bubble wrap to protect the doll's legs from rubbing against each other because, you know, it's really hot outside and nobody likes chafed thighs. I wrapped the doll in some cling film and taped over it to draw a quick A-line skirt pattern. I don't really like this method because I'm a purist and prefer to draft from a bodice block, but I have to admit that this is way less bothersome than I remembered it to be, and I think I might try to do this more often. And after the lines are final, I very carefully cut the pattern off of the doll with tiny scissors. After cleaning up the edges and cutting through the darts to make the pattern flat, I can trace it onto paper and add seam allowances. I've been sewing for a few years now and I have a pretty good eye laser for drawing this freehand, but feel free to use a ruler to double check. I cut the pattern out of a black cotton because I want this to be sort of an underlayer and don't want to draw too much attention to it, so a matte fabric is a good choice here. I traced the darts and began sewing from stitching them in. At this scale, you really want to trim off any excess. Next, I joined the backs to the front and started preparing for the glitter apocalypse that will follow shortly. You can already see the glitter! You'll get this, alright? You'll get what I mean, glitter. Next, I hemmed the top and bottom of the skirt, which is easier if you snip the curve first and press the hems. After that, the backs get sewn together, and after a fitting, a snap can be added, which you may remember I'm not a fan of, but oh well. It has a very bulky snap, but it does have a snap, so. Similar to the bottom, I made a pattern for a top using the foil and tape technique. I am going for a bralette type shape. All I could think of when I was making it was that our Leo girl is like a bodybuilder and this is her competition bikini or something. It took me a few tries and I decided that this rounded shape would be nice, so I proceeded with that. I cut it off the doll, traced it onto paper, and added seam allowance, but decided to cut this pattern net because the shape with the seam allowance didn't really reflect the structure of the bra, like the darts and the swoop in the middle. I traced the pattern onto the same cotton as the skirt and roughly cut it out to be able to sew in the little darts on the cups. I think this one requires super zoom. With the super zoom activated, I can hem the bra, which I will do with glue as I'm fairly certain my sewing machine would eat this tiny piece of fabric. I add snips to any areas that are a bit more curvy to make it easier to fold the edge under, and proceed with tacky glue, which I decided to give another chance on a natural fabric. It seemed to work okay-ish for this project, but it doesn't have any instructions, so I'm pretty sure I'm not using it correctly. I just know other people swear by it, but for me, as a wise woman once said, why glue no stick? I tried letting it dry for a bit and then gluing, and after a few sessions of placing things back down and tacking it, it was holding its shape. I measured the band on the doll to add a snap, and the bra was ready. Traditionally, the mess is growing. I added straps. Let's try to put it on. Pretty basic, but I have more. Okay, to limit the amount of glitter everywhere. It's so pretty! So I have to cut these trumpets out like 10 times. So let's first check if that's even possible. Oh no! Aww, it's glitter! The herpes of the crafting world! Oh, silly past Barb, you are not yet aware of the places you will be finding this glitter in for weeks to come. Anyway, I ended up cutting 8 of these trumpets and piecing them together into a half circle with a train. This fabric is actually an offcut of Alex's dress that she bought for her Italy trip she is on right now. It was too long, so I shortened it for her. I would only like to mention that when I have to go abroad, I take her with me, and point out that I am not in Italy right now. Bombastic side eye. Alex told me that I need to line it, so I will make another one like this, but with this. I don't know if you can see, but there is glitter. I mean, apart from glitter being everywhere. With the 2 skirts ready, I attached them right sides together so that they actually form a circle now. I could also attach them together at the hem, but it would look a bit bulkier, so I decided to hem the circle instead. There is no reason to not do that, really, and it will look better. It's so sparkly, and it's so sparkly. After a Kintsugi painting break, I took the skirt to the doll to try and figure out the top. I didn't want to do a full bodice because that would hide the abs, but I didn't want it to look like it's on suspenders. We had a bit of an accident. No! But a few stitches later, we were back on track. Then, several minutes of aggressive hand gestures ensued. After much deliberation, I decided to make these long straps, and Alex had the brilliant idea to make the dress reversible, so I had to line those too. So I cut 4 of the straps, 2 from each fabric, and stitched them together along 3 edges, leaving 1 unsewn for turning to the right side. Did you see how much glitter just flinged out? Hint! A lot of glitter flung is the correct word, out. You didn't see what I did at all because I didn't press record. Anyway, I sandwiched the straps here, and I'm now gonna stitch these together and hope that my machine can go through this amount of fabric. Let's see. After flipping the straps to the right side, I tested out putting the straps on crossed in the front, and I thought that would be it. Everything's in glitter. It's terrible. However, Alex didn't like that it covered a lot, so we ended up crossing them in the back instead. I think it looks pretty royal, and I love the glitter fabrics, even though I will be cleaning glitter for weeks now. Would any vacuum company like to sponsor us? Please?
Now we can finish her hair. I'm making wefts by gluing the hair together and letting it dry for a couple of hours. Some of the paint chipped off, so a quickly fix is required here. We already have a front part done, so this process is super easy, no parting wefts, no planning, as I want a simple, long, wavy style. I'm simply gluing the wefts to the hair, starting at the bottom and going up. Later, I will style the hair with a little bit of spray and foam to hold the waves in a good shape. I'm leaving 2 spots unpainted without any hair, so I know where to put the ears. Speaking of the ears, they need some paint. I'm matching them to the yellow parts of the doll. I was worried that if I painted them black or brown, they would not show in the black hair. I am not a passionate hairdresser, you should already know that after more than 80 doll customizing videos, so I'm doing what I do best, which is braids. I did 7 braids, 3 on each side and 1 big at the back because I want to keep the hair away from her face. Let's decorate her. She's a Leo and she has to be extra. I'm adding a few rings to the braids. I want a sun-like crown or tiara on her head, and I was thinking about destroying my favorite pair of earrings, but I stopped myself, bought a new pair in a better suited color and destroyed them instead. So I still have my earrings, which is very nice. I attached 4 pins to it and I'm pinning the crown to the head. A few more decorations near the right ear, a small sun under the left ear, and right now I'm gluing a gold ribbon to make a choker. She can't have plain nails and claws, and I chose blue to match with the dress and one of the eyes. Even if she has male hands, they need to be pretty. I'm fixing the white line that has left after taking off the protective cloth and adding some baby hair because Spectra has a very high forehead and I just want her face to look a little bit smaller. Then I decided to make the top and the skirt a little bit more exciting by adding a golden ribbon and a loosely attached chain. Something was missing on the chest, so I added a golden necklace and a little moon to the bra. I thought it could be a nice, small, contrasting detail to all the sun references. It's still golden to match the whole aesthetic. I want something to resemble the lion mane, so I tied a few black feathers together to serve as a furry decoration, like a collar or something like that. I'm not sure if you can see it with all the black, but it's there to make some additional volume. And with this, the doll is finished.
This is how she turned out. I hope that you like our take on the masculine prompt. I know some of you expected to see a boy doll, and it is a separate prompt, so we hope to see it drawn soon too. But we try to acknowledge all sorts of people and their colors and sizes in our dolls. It may not be every time that you see us represent a minority of sorts, but I hope that everyone can find themselves represented in our little art corner. As always, a reminder that the dolls from the Zodiac series go towards our Patreon at the end of the series, so check that out. We post BTS content there all the time, and maybe you need a new desk mat or a mug or shirt, anyone to support our silly little doll making channel. So in that case, head over to our merch store, also linked below. Thanks!
The next zodiac is Virgo, and we've got a few requests to make it not as an earthy white lady with long hair, so what would you like to see for a Virgo sign? Let us know in the comments down below. We will try to include your ideas in the next set of prompts.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram for some sneak peeks and subscribe for videos. Yes, for videos, basically is. Have an enchanted day, and we'll see you next time. Bye! This video was made thanks to our Patreons. The biggest credit goes to our top Lost Sister tier supporters, Mary Helen Burns, Call Me Ash, Erin McCoy, and Red X. We also thank our cousin tier Patreons, Mav V, Jessica Shell, Gianette, Mary Chandler, Josephine Falk, Kaylee M, Melissa Novoa, Rinth, Fan of TA, Marilyn McGraw, Aaliyah J, Catherine G, Ashley, Etwell, Hannah Lemon, Elise Sherbert, Zari, Genevieve Duflock, Amelia Blackwood, Andrea Brigadier, Ghostly Gardens, Super Meow, Bowen, Inca, Stephanie, Tiffany Jeffords, Karaho, Landy Monk, Katie Baker, Caribou, Siv's Party, Dragon Art Costumes, Ninja Star Dezino, Dream Up, and last but not least, Catherine Naughton. Thank you! And see you soon for some things that will be on fire. Spoiler alert, we're gonna have fun.